Hi, welcome to Jeremy's Tech Channel, and today we are checking out GhostBSD. Alright guys, this is my first go at BSD. As most of you in the open source community know, there is typically FreeBSD and OpenBSD with different goals in mind, trying to give a wonderful, stable, secure operating system. This is not a Linux operating system. It does not have the Linux kernel involved at all, but they're brothers in the sense that they're both open source. BSD has roots all the way back in the 70s and has direct ties to Unix, whereas Linux, or what Linus Torvalds created with the Linux kernel, is Unix-based, but it's not, directly from Unix. We're going to check out GhostBSD. I figured for my first go of BSD that I should do as user-friendly of a distribution for BSD as possible. And so I've decided to use GhostBSD. So what we are going to do is take a look at the website, see exactly who this is for, what their goal is. Then we will boot it up in a live environment and go through the install process and see if it's for us. This is GhostBSD's website, a simple, elegant desktop BSD operating system. So they say it's simple and elegant and is built on top of FreeBSD. Remember I said the two main BSD distributions, I'm calling them distributions, FreeBSD and OpenBSD. And this one is based on FreeBSD. FreeBSD is used by companies like Netflix, for example, and they use it on their server. And the reason why they like to use it is that it's scalable. So just be aware of that. I need to point out that GhostBSD is built on top of FreeBSD, which is what I said, and its roots go back to the University of California, Berkeley Unix research. Historically, it was referred to as BSD Unix or Berkeley Unix. However, today it is called BSD for Berkeley Software Distribution. And it should be noted that BSD is licensed under something else. They're not licensed under the GNU public license. It is licensed, as you can see here, under the simplified BSD license. Just be aware of some of those differences. Now, what do I gain by using BSD versus Linux? It's kind of a give or take kind of thing. And here's what I mean by that. If something is apples to apples, it seems to be, at least what I'm reading online, that the application tends to run more efficient on BSD. But if it's something that has to be ported from Linux, then they tend to get older packages. But that's not even a fair assessment of what's going on. Just know that there are 40,000 plus packages for FreeBSD, a much less number of packages for OpenBSD, and GhostBSD is designed for someone like myself who is willing to check out FreeBSD and see if it's something that we might like. Here it is. This is what we get. They have a live environment for us to use, and we're going to go ahead and install GhostBSD. I double clicked, and by the way, it I guess it really wants you to give it exactly what you need it to be. If you only want it once, you should only click it once. Today I am using VirtualBox. For some reason I was having problems in Virt Manager and my mouse. I'm sure it was my fault. So I will not be blaming anyone but myself. I'm going to keep everything default because this is my first go with BSD. They let you choose your shell right here. They had it pre-chosen as fish, so I will keep it as fish. And now it will go through the install process. I don't know how long this is going to take. It could be 2 seconds, it could be 20 minutes, it could be 2 hours. But I will go ahead and speed this up for you, and we'll see you on the other side. Okay, installation complete. Restart. So now we're in the Mate desktop environment. It's a very comfortable desktop environment. I am unfamiliar with BSD as far as anything other than what I've read up on. As far as running it on systems, I am very much a newbie, okay? So I'm going to navigate the desktop environment. We're going to look and see how to install and remove packages and get a sense of how this is running. Mate desktop environment is an outstanding place to be and an outstanding place to start. We have some very simple applications for us to use. Looks like they have Plank ready to go. Stupidly simple. I like that. But if I remove this panel, if I delete this panel here, this bottom panel that, by the way, has workspaces set up here, if I delete this panel and I decide to run Plank, I've got Plank here, and here is my Mac feel, right? We have access to a root terminal. Normally with Linux distributions, you have sudo set up so that you can handle any kind of root or administrative tasks. It looks like they have a terminal that you open up as a root user, and that is interesting to me. There is a screenshot tool here, which I believe is Mate specific. We can take the whole desktop or grab the current window or select an area to grab. So we can select an area to grab, take screenshot. So I'll just grab this right here. I've taken a screenshot. Where do I want to save it? I guess I'm saving it to the desktop. And there it is. Set up, saved as a PNG. Here's the properties. Nice and simple. Applications are very familiar to me because it looks like Eye of Mate image viewer. That's what we were just in. That's nice. So you have Firefox web browser and transmission. Firefox is something that you probably are familiar with if you're in the open source community. These are still familiar things to me. Sound, Rhythm Box, VLC Media Player, and we have some system tools here. Now here is a file manager here, nice and clean. This file manager name is Kaja or Kaha. They also have a dconf editor here. That's nice. Your fish shell log file viewer, disk usage analyzer, your Mate system. Wow. Okay. 667 megabytes used of the 15.6 gigabytes that are available. That is awesome. Yes, you can get leaner with window managers. Yes, there are much more beefy ones like GNOME, but hey, somewhere in between, pretty cool. You get a sense of what is here. Some form of ZFS. I don't know if it's actually ZFS, a proprietary version, or if it's a free ZFS. This desktop environment is quite nice. If you're a person who is used to working in BSD and like using it on the server side of things, you're very comfortable with that, and you just want to have that at home and slap on a desktop environment and work with it, hey, you're already in a good place to be. We can configure some specific things that are already on Mate, which is nice. Appearance here. If you want to make it dark, you can. You can get more themes online. That's nice. We can change the backgrounds. Now they have, at least in GhostBSD, they have a control center here. Administrative groups, hardware, internet, and network, look and feel, personal, change theme, which we just did. Set preferred applications, whether or not we want Firefox or if we installed another application. So if we wanted Eye of Mate and we wanted to change it to the Shotwell photo viewer, which is quite nice, we can do that. So the terminal emulator that is set is the Mate terminal, or you could choose the root one if you wanted. Now, what I am noticing is there is not much of anything that is installed up front. I really don't see, they have Office set up here. Besides the email client and the document viewer and this dictionary, there really isn't much there. Very basic on the sound and video, and honestly, internet and graphics and accessories, everything is very simple. We have an update manager and a software station. Warning, this system needs to be upgraded. Installing software without upgrading could harm this installation. Would you like to upgrade now? Well, when they put it that way, maybe I should. So I will go ahead and update. And it says we have 231 packages to be upgraded, new packages to be installed 95, and reinstall 324 packages. Once again, it doesn't like double clicks here. So I'm going to go ahead and install update. This may take a minute. While the update is happening, you can see we're at 340 packages. It's starting to speed up here. This is something that is specific to Mate desktop, but if you do not like having these icons on your desktop, you can uncheck them and get them to disappear. You could also uncheck mounted volumes if you didn't want that to show up on the desktop. You can choose where the buttons are, right or left. Fish is also available in Linux for a shell to use. I do want to see if there are some elements that are available. Well, that's a fish thing. So top active memory is 416 megabytes, 772 megabytes inactive, 13 gigabytes free. Very interesting way to lay that out. We also had a swap partition created. I just went with default the whole way through just because I don't really know what to expect with FreeBSD or specifically GhostBSD. I see these processes here. It says there's 3 zombie processes, 88 sleeping, 1 running, and that is this update install. Shotwell is really great. You know, they gave you the one that comes with Mate, and they also gave you Shotwell, which is great. Let's import from folder. We have one on our desktop here. Let's import that one photo. Import in place. It's not a big photo. It says the size. I just did a quick draw on it. The size is 634 by 460, and you can rotate it. You can crop it. Very cool. It's got some nice like shortcuts. So if you know you're going to be doing something 16 by 9 or 4 by 3, that is very nice. Boom. That is a great tool or unconstrained. Very nice for cropping. If you need to straighten it, red eye. Obviously a screenshot isn't going to give you red eye. Adjust. I wonder if this window can be moved. It can. All right. So we can increase the exposure, lower the exposure, contrast. But you can start to tell when you lower the contrast that there's some of these trees popping up. Enhance. So that's just what it thinks you should use to get it to be enhanced. If you're looking for a great photo management and quick, simple editing for photos, Shotwell is a great option. And it's on Linux, and obviously now you can see it's on GhostBSD, which is based on FreeBSD. Hey, if you're a photographer and you want to look at FreeBSD or Linux, this is a great option for you. I knew going into this that I might have some challenges in place because I don't know how GhostBSD or FreeBSD works and how it likes to make things happen, the workflow of it, the order of things. And that's, one of the reasons why I'm here is to gain knowledge on that. Well, let me check out this decomp editor. Don't forget that some options may break applications, so be careful. I'll be careful. I really like that. That was awesome. If we want to edit something in the Xorg, you can edit something. Desktop, GNOME, crypto. Wait, crypto? Crypto? What? I'm like almost scared to mess with some of this stuff because I could break an application and I need to do more reading. Okay, we finished the update. It took a bit. It was like a 20-minute update, but it's completely understandable that you need to make sure that your system is updated and ready for use. So now we're going to the software station here. Right, it's saying there's 31,000 packages available. So it's not like there are a bunch of things you are going to be missing. They have some package specific with regions. I see multi-language and nationalities being available for you here. But I am curious about what is available. This is an interesting way to handle this. Let's just see if there's something. Oh, Amarok is there. Let's just see if Audacity is here. I'm going to click and apply installing Audacity. It's letting me know what is also going to be installed to allow for Audacity to run. Okay, so we installed Audacity through their graphic installer. Let's just see if it's here. There is Audacity, and here it is. While I was waiting for that to update, I saw this plugin here. It's called Auto Talent, real-time pitch correction plugin. That's pretty funny to me. And then this is interesting, adjust brainwaves with sound. You have some of the classics ready for you to use. You've got FreeCAD here. Let's just check a couple things, because if you're interested in potentially using FreeBSD or GhostBSD specifically, you may be looking for something specific. So maybe you're looking for QTerminal, which is a terminal that I have started to like. You can find it here. There may be some things that you might not be able to find, and that's okay too, but you just need to be aware not everything is here. So I did a search for the Brave web browser, and I didn't see it, at least in these repositories, and there's probably a good reason, but you should just be aware of what is here. You've got Kodi here. So I'm trying to use the command line to see how things work for an install. So we're going to try sudo package install GIMP. Okay, not that big a deal. Sudo pkg install GIMP is all it took. I really like seeing what's happening on the back end. It also, quickly and easily told me here what is being installed to allow for GIMP to be a part of this system. GIMP is an alternative to programs like Photoshop. So if you would like to edit and manipulate photos, you can use GIMP and use it well. Okay, now let's just see if it's where it should be. Probably should be in here, and there it is. Here is GIMP, and it's ready for us to use. So we got to see how we install packages from the graphical front end that GhostBSD provides. We've also seen it update, which, by the way, it needed to do that. It was long for me because I was being impatient. Okay. And then we got to see what it looks like on the terminal side installing something. Do you have 50 web browsers available to install? No. But this is a great opportunity to use very open source centric software. And there's some things that are just laid out and communicated a little differently. So what do we learn by walking through GhostBSD? One, that was my first go of BSD, and it took me a bit to get some things going. I didn't understand some of the back-end pieces. I started out using Virt Manager for my virtual machine, didn't set it up properly for BSD, then switched to VirtualBox and didn't have something else configured properly, and then went back to Virt Manager and figured out my problem in the first place. I was having problems with getting my mouse to work, and on a Virt Manager and in VirtualBox, I was having a problem getting proper resolution on my screen. And it was all my fault. No one's fault. It's not GhostBSD's fault. It's my fault working on the virtual machine. But that got me a little flustered. And that's okay. Getting into it, choosing Mate Desktop is a great choice. A very minimal installation. So if you like minimal installations, there wasn't much there that was going to get in the way. You had a good amount of packages to install. Flatpaks and snaps do not work on FreeBSD. It's not intended to work that way, and they don't occur. Okay. App images, it looks like there has been some development for that. It could recently be able to work. That doesn't seem to be their jam. It doesn't seem to be what gets them going as far as how they want things to be managed. It seems that they want something that is clean and simple and only has what they need. People who tend to be attracted to OpenBSD and FreeBSD, and in this instance, GhostBSD, that's what they like. People who manage FreeBSD or OpenBSD servers or other ways to use those operating systems, they feel fairly comfortable if they decide to put it on a desktop. You may like the mindset of FreeBSD or OpenBSD, and GhostBSD really did give a simple way to install BSD on a laptop, in my case, made it easy for me to work around and get a sense of it. And I really do appreciate that. If you're wanting to take a look at FreeBSD or OpenBSD, then using GhostBSD to get your you get your toes wet, it was probably a really good choice. For me, I'm not sure if it's something that is for me. I think I need to give it a go a couple more times and get familiar with it. Maybe I need to get a server up and running with Open or FreeBSD for me to really get a sense of what it's about. There was some translation issues, but most things work similarly. For instance, being able to, it was essentially like installing a Debian system, it was like, instead of sudo apt install fill in the blank, it was sudo pkg install fill in the blank. That was straightforward. And I just know there's a lot more that I didn't even touch that is very different about GhostBSD. I can say that they did a successful job of giving a desktop environment and a user-friendly front end for people to get used to BSD, specifically on this one, FreeBSD. So I really appreciate that. Thanks, GhostBSD, for this really cool operating system. And I can't wait to see how it continues to grow and move and change. Thanks for watching today. See you next time.